Hello, the Keto family. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today for some low-carb keto crackers. If this is your first time, welcome. It's great having you. Please consider hitting the subscribe button below and the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming content. Let's get cooking, guys. Keep in mind, guys, that everything that I'm using today in this recipe will be down in the comments below. Then at the end of the video, I will have a nutritional card for you for the macro breakdowns. And when I make this recipe, I'll get between 60 and 70 crackers normally. How many you get really depends on how thick you cut them. I generally try to get into an inch square or so, give or take, because my cuts tend to kind of go sometimes a little wonky, so I'm not the best at cutting a straight line. But you should get somewhere in that area, and the nutritional breakdown will be for roughly 10 crackers per serving. So I'll get all the math figured out for you, then I'll make sure I put it in there. Alright guys, so to get this started, we have a cup of almond flour here. It's already been sifted in. Always sift your powders and your flours, okay? You don't want any of them hard lumps in there. And to that, I'm just going to mix the other dry ingredients. I have here a half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt. I have a half a teaspoon of no salt. If you've seen any of my other videos, I put no salt in just about everything I cook. The potassium content in it is amazing, and it really helps with my, I get leg cramps real bad. I guess not eating bananas anymore would do that to me. Then I have a teaspoon of oregano and a teaspoon of thyme. And you can really personalize this. You can use any seasonings you want. I think this one called for rosemary. But rosemary I find tends to be a bit twiggy. I don't like that sharp feeling in it. Just going to mix the dry ingredients together real quick. Next, we're going to take a tablespoon of olive oil and 1 egg lightly beaten. Just going to mix those together really good. Alright, I'll mix that into the flour. We're going to make our dough. I mean, seriously guys, this is so easy. This is a great beginner's recipe. Especially if you're missing your snacks. Like, I know my daughter comes home from school, first thing she does is raid the pantry. And that's what brought this video on. Actually, today she raided the pantry and there was nothing there. I'm like, well, have some beef jerky. I just made beef jerky up. She just gave me this look like, oh, we don't have any chips. No, we don't have any chips. So I told her to make her up some of these crackers today. She was real excited. Alright, just working this dough. It takes a minute, but it will all incorporate. Alright, we got that all mixed together. Now, I have no idea who came up with this technique of rolling it out without making a mess everywhere, but I wish I could shake their hand. This is such a lifesaver here. I'll need you. Alright, so I got 2 sheets of wax paper. I like to get the pre-cut wax paper. If it's perfectly on my cookie sheet that I'm using to cook these. If you don't have the pre-cut, no big deal. Just get the rollout. I've done it many times. To get the rollout, kind of, I just place it over my cookie sheet and I cut inside the lines so it'll fit in there. If you have extra coming out, then it makes it a little more difficult because when I roll the dough, I roll it to the size of the sheet so I know that's the dimensions of my pan. If you roll it too big, then you'll have the dough going up the sides and it'll make nice curvy crackers, and they're more like Fritos than crackers at that point. Alright, so all we do is we're simply going to drop the dough on here. They say you can spray the wax paper with, you know, cooking spray, nonstick cooking spray. I don't have a problem with it sticking, so I don't bother. Totally up to you if you want to. Alright, just mash it down a little bit to make the start easier. Alright, then we just cover this with a second piece of wax paper. Now initially, it's a little bit of a struggle as you're working it down, but once you get it flattened a little bit, it gets much easier. Just rolling. I'll get this rolled out and I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. Alright guys, so I finished getting this all rolled out. Now, sometimes when you're rolling it out, it'll start coming off the edges. And since I know this is the shape of my cookie sheet, then I don't want it over. So I just scrape it off with my finger or a butter knife and put it somewhere where there's an empty spot. And this makes it so much easier using the wax paper. If you're doing more than one batch, make sure you save that sheet. Alright, so I know I want to try and get at least 60 out of this. So to make it even, I go up the middle, and then I'll try and get 5 on each side. So 1, 2, 4. Then I go back up the center this way, and then I'll try and get 3 on each side of this. All right, so it gave me 62-ish. So as simple as this is we're gonna take it and just slide this right onto our cookie sheet. Boom. And that's as easy as that is. All we gotta do now is bake them. I've already got the oven preheated to 350 degrees. And so this bakes for 8 to 12 minutes depending on your oven. I think the last time I baked it, it was right at 10 minutes. So you'll notice that the edges, they're probably a little bit thinner. They'll brown first. So what I do is when I notice them browning first but the middle's not done, I'll take the edges off, put them in a bowl, let them cool down, and then pop the rest back in the oven to finish cooking. That way you don't have undercooked ones in the middle that aren't very crispy. Oh, because we've already scored this with the pizza cutter, once it cools down out of the oven, we'll just be able to pop apart with our hands, and that's so much fun. You'll love that part. All right, guys, I'll see you back in about 10 minutes. All right, lovely. So these have finished cooking, and at 10 minutes, I did take the ones on the edges off because they had started to brown. I didn't want them to burn, and I cooked the rest for another 2 minutes longer. And they've been cooling off for, 5-10 minutes here. Ideally, you should let them cool off for about 15 minutes, but I'm not a patient person. So this is how easily they seriously break apart because we scored it with the pizza cutter. This is the fun part. My daughter always asks if she can come break them up because it's like playing with your food. It's so much fun. But this is it, guys. So I got about 63 out of these all together. And again, it just depends on how you cut yours, how many you're going to get. So you might want to do your own calculations if you make them bigger or smaller and come out with a different amount than I did. That's it. All done. They are so good. Perfect. Now, again, if you want them crunchier or a little thinner, you can keep cooking them a little bit longer. But I find these are the perfect texture. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you liked this video. And stay tuned because shortly I'll be coming out with a copycat Cheez-It recipe. Oh, those are so good. So keep an eye out for that Cheez-It video. Once I make it and get it posted, I'll link it up here for you, okay? But I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out. Alright guys, thanks for joining me today. Bye.